right now, just to ground everybody and get everybody rooted and present in this moment. If we could say just a quick prayer, I'm gonna pray just real quick because I need it. And we were ready for this last night, but a whole lot has happened that I don't even have to mention this morning. And so thank you for your patience and thank you for being here. And sometimes that's what we need during mental health moments, right? And I feel like I'm going through a mental health moment at this moment. So what a wonderful place to be in with brothers and sisters who gonna pray with me.
Amen. Amen.
So Lord, we thank you, Father, right now for this day. We thank you for the intentionality behind every moment and every second of this meeting. We thank you for blessing Miracle's heart and mind, Father. Every heart that's pacing, every heart that feels rushed, every heart that feels like this did not go the right way, Father, I ask, Father, that you comfort us, that you give us peace in this moment, and that we be present, and that we do this for your glory, Lord. And so I give your name glory and honor, and I give your name praise and worship, Lord. I ask you to fill every person's heart and mind with the right words to say, and that it lands in the hearts and minds of those who need it, Father. And that every person that is supposed to be here is here and present in this moment. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. So thank you guys. So my name is Bernita Bradley. I always start out with the fact that I'm a mom of two grown children, a grandmother of three, and I like to say that I'm actually a mom, a community mom slash auntie who will fight you over community and children. Like I will literally physically fight you. I might not fight you as much as I used to because I'm a little older now and it's gonna hurt the next day. But if somebody harms children or a community, I'm gonna come after you. So thank you, Miracle, for inviting me to help moderate this conversation. And I just wanted to open up just with that prayer for a second and then just introduce our wonderful panel. I won't prolong our introduction. We'll give the panel just a few seconds for everybody just to introduce themselves. You already know this wonderful woman who's sitting next to me. She had to call room with us earlier, so thank you. But I'll just let her go ahead and introduce herself and we'll go around.
Is this? Whoa, that's loud. Okay. Go here. Hi, everybody. I'm Latanya Harris Gooden, LHG. I am the host of Critical Conversations Network. I'm a mom. I am a person that works with youth. I love God. I'm a woman of faith. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Coach Miracle. Divine connection for sure. And let me just say that my sister next to you all is well. And that's it for me. Hello, everybody. My name is Linda McGee. I am in this space. I am a landlord. I am an attorney who represents and advises those kids in the community who are in foster care and juvenile justice cases. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tasha Cunningham. I'm community financial advisor and financial literacy instruction, as well as a financial news consultant. And more importantly, I'm a housing advocate, and I've been really dedicated over the years to making sure that we do our part to eliminate housing insecurities. And that's why I'm here today, and I want to thank Coach Miracle for always keeping me informed on her events, because I think it takes a village for us to help try to resolve this issue. And so workshops like this and webinars and resource fairs is what the community needs, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Well, good afternoon. I am State Representative Kimberly Edwards. I represent House District 12. My district covers East Point, South St. Clair Shores, Grosse Pointe, and parts of the east side of Detroit. We're currently inside my district right now. I have a master's in social work with 20 years of experience of child welfare.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Latanya Harris Bailey, the founder of Husband Kids. I am a mom of two, one little with autism, and I'm married. My husband, he has disabilities that we are trying to ensure we have affordable housing for. And thank you, Coach Murphy, for inviting me to this space. Very much needed.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eva Mello Langston. I'm the new principal of Power for Young Voices Action Collective. I'm an organizer of over 6 years now, and to put it very simply, what YVAC does is We step in for our community when the government fails because we know that it's inevitable and we understand that systems were never created with Black people in mind. So not only do we step up and do a lot of rapid response work, but we also work to hold our elected officials accountable when they don't stand through with their promises. Yeah, I'm Eva, and the organization is Young Voices Action Collective.
Hello, everyone. My name is Miracle Nora, and you will hear some call me Coach Miracle, some will call me Dr. Miracle, some will call me Minister Miracle, but I am most importantly a child of God and a servant here to serve the community. So thank you all for coming. Can we give a round of applause for the panelists? So this event is a capstone project to the Fannie Lou Hamer Leadership Cohort that I have been a part of for the last 6 months. And this was my capstone event, and I could have did any other event, but this being in the organization and being in the leadership cohort allowed me to put two things that I always do together, and that is housing and it is mental health. How many of you know that housing trauma is a mental health crisis? And if we cannot have safe and secure and affordable and accessible housing, that adds a stressor to our mental health every single day. And if it adds a stressor to our mental health, then it also adds a stressor to our children's mental health. And so there is a cycle of harm that is we continuously to stay in when we have landlords, when we have owner-occupied residents who are disabled, when we have tenants who are disabled, or just needing accessibility and affordability. But we're all in the systemic trauma because we all are a part of a system where there is an imbalance of resources, where there is systemic poverty, where there is modern-day redlining. And so we're here to talk about it. We're here to give voice to our pain points and to let our good friends and state officials and city officials and community leaders hear what we have to say so that we can go out and continue to do the work and have asks, right? Get a community ask where we could go to the policy holders and officials and say, hey, this is what we need, right? Because I was born in the city of Detroit, but I moved away for 15 years. But when I came back, I was reminded, right? To my insurance increased by $400 as soon as I came back. That immediately put a stressor on me because I'm sorry, my finances didn't increase $400, right? And so this is modern day redlining. This is when the fact that I have to put all of this money on my insurance and the fact that I have to manage bills and rent and food and medical and accessibility. I live with chronic pain every day, but accessibility has never been a conversation because affordability was my priority, right? But that should not be our case as residents. It should not be our case as it's a human right, right? And so it's all of our human right to have the accessibility and the affordability that we need because it may be different for each one of us. And it doesn't matter our financial stature. If I am rich, I still need some type of accessibility, right? If I am in poverty, I still need some type of accessibility. And so thank you for the panelists. Thank you for Benita, the moderator, and thank you all for being here. And we're just going to get started. I'll pass it back over to you, Benita.
Yeah, perfect. That's a good place, man. Okay, so I have a couple of simple questions, and anybody can kind of jump in and answer. So the first question that I have is, so when it comes down to systemic barriers, like we all kind of know a lot of the barriers, right? Can you describe a specific hidden cost, whether it be time, money, emotional labor, that being a disability advocate, landlord, whichever way, that people encounter that generally people won't see, like a hidden cost? Anybody? Yep, so can you describe a specific hidden cost? It could be time, money, or emotional labor. You or anybody that you know have incurred simply because your home was not designed for specific accessibility or disability.
While they think about it, I've been a resident for the city of Detroit for most of my life. I'm also a owner-occupied resident of the city of Detroit. I'm also a landlord. I purchased a multifamily, and the hidden cost that I didn't see was that my home is not accessible. It wasn't accessible when I purchased it, not for me, not for my tenants, right? And so when I decided, okay, I understand now that I have been part of the problem, so I gotta be part of the solution. So when I go and do research on what it's gonna cost for me to make the home more accessible, first of all, yeah, that's just a lot of money that I did not account for, right? And also, then I found out that when I make my home accessible, it's going to increase my taxes because they said that is home improvement, right? And so that increases the value of your home because it's accessible. So who do I put that extra cost on? Because my taxes increase yearly. My tenants, I don't want to increase their rent. They've been paying the same rent since I had it. I don't want to increase theirs, but if I don't, then the burden is on me. And so the emotional labor of being a landlord who don't want to increase the cost, but also make it accessible and affordable.
Good stuff, good stuff. People don't think about that right there behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. Yes.
Let's use those two black mics instead. Yep. There you go.
So as I go into my statement, our home was accessible when we first moved in.
We have to talk to somebody, because we can hear you, but I want to make sure.
So our home was accessible when we first moved there, but as my husband got older, he had some challenges. He had an amputated leg, became diabetic, so he wasn't able to go up and down the stairs. And it's recently gotten worse. So because people called on us, we had to hurry up and get our restroom accessible, the hallways accessible. And that was money that we did not have.
Yeah.
And we could not regularly find resources to help us get the home accessible within a short period of time. So sometimes you start out, your home is accessible. But as you age and things happen, your home becomes inaccessible to you and you can't move, so you become hostage in your home. You become a hostage to downstairs because you can't go up and down the stairs. And most people, they live in the colony or something, bathrooms, bedrooms are upstairs. So it just becomes an issue that we have to debate. Do we move? Do we get it fixed? Are there resources out there to help us move? Are there resources out there to get us repairs that we need? Most of the time, there are not resources that's relevant for you when you need them. So right now, I'm paying money that we don't have to make our bathroom more accessible.
And I would agree, as a landlord, the hidden cost, well, I wouldn't even say it's hidden, it's pretty obvious that in order to either maintain the revenue as a landlord, in order to cover my costs and landlords who profit from having tenants in their homes. But if I have a tenant who now is disabled or has some special need, and I'm not able to meet that need, the cost for me would be to, install whatever it is that I need to do, be it the hand bars in the bathroom, renovate a bathroom space so that someone can get in who can't walk. And that became all too obvious once I started to be a caregiver for my mother, who passed away this past January after my sister and I cared for her for 3 years. And she was always, without going too long, she was always very active until she wasn't. So her home was not very accessible at all because she had a lot of stairs, and you just reminded me of this. I wasn't even gonna mention it because her bedroom was on the second floor with her master bathroom, but she couldn't use it, so she was a prisoner in one little room that was in the downstairs. So as a landlord and as a daughter, I'm looking now at how can I make things more accessible in the future? Because stairs can be a barrier. See, all of us, most of us that I'm standing here are able-bodied. We can walk, and that's something I think we take for granted sometimes, and landlords don't think about that. Tenants don't think about it. I never did. There could come a time when I am in a wheelchair and my landlord needs to either create a space or a way, a ramp for me to be able to get into my own home, or I have to move, which is not easy, especially in this space and time. that we're in when things are so expensive.
I think for me, accessibility is more than just a physical aspect. Like I see it from a whole different lens of things. Like yes, we need access to ramps and shower equipment and all that, but it's another level. Like when someone passes on, having access to the deed to that property. Having those kind of accessible items are important too. Like yes, we need to transform our homes when we get older and we have elderly in there. But in the long term, we also need to have accessibility to those documents that confirm that we are indeed the homeowners, or even having access for individuals who are victims of abuse, having access to properties themselves. Like I see it from a whole different lens, like not just the we need physical aspect, but it goes beyond that too.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Okay.
Well, the hidden cost for me was my job. I didn't think that getting sick and having a disability would cost my job. When I paid into a disability policy or something that would pay me, I just assumed that, okay, I'm sick, the job would approve short-term disability. Okay, it's long-term. It would approve long-term. They didn't. They terminated me after 22 years. So it took my self-esteem in a job I thought I was. Man, I love that job. I was a trainer, corporate trainer. I love the people, the students. That was like, woo. And I wasn't in a marriage where I had a partnership. So when that money went, there went the home. There went the marriage. There came anxiety. Then came depression. And then workplace PTSD. So I never thought I would be in that position. You go around doing your work every day. Yeah, you in pain, but you superwoman. Come on with it. But then it stopped. I hit a wall. I can't fake this anymore. And then there's a stigma of, you ain't disabled, you just fat. You need to just stop eating. And then you can be undisabled. So then there's the stigma of, yeah, she just need to stop eating and she ain't hurting. This ain't. And even in my own relationship, I had to fight that stigma. Because people who don't know what chronic joint arthritis, degenerative discs, people don't know that until you know someone that is going through that. It is debilitating physically, and then sometimes you cross the road where I don't even know why I'm here anymore, Lord. Your faith is even tested. So there's a lot of hidden costs. Thank God for help and hope.
Yes.
Okay, so, one, I appreciate everybody's vulnerability. And this is something when I was like preparing to come here, I had not considered, my experience actually developing a disability last year. I got into a car accident, and I was a senior, I was in my final semester of college and my arm was completely immobilized. So I was in a cast from my whole hand all the way up to my shoulder. And, my graduation was delayed. My scholarship was taken away. I had a full tuition scholarship to MSU. And I was supposed to graduate spring of 2025. I had to graduate summer of 2025. And I was able to walk across the stage in the spring, but I still don't have my degree. I completed my final class, but because my scholarship was taken away, MSU now made me pay for the summer course. And I still don't have the money to pay for it. So I still have a balance with them and I haven't received my degree. But to be young and to have something like that happen to me, the emotional toll that it took was probably the hardest time of my life, honestly. I was an hour and 35 minutes away from my family, and I remember so many days where I would literally just cry because I had no car, I had no scholarship, and I'm getting emotional right now, and I always cry when I talk about this, honestly. Just because now they told me I'm going to develop arthritis when I'm older, and I'll only get 60 to 70% mobility back in my hand. And I'm a believer, so I rebuke that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I didn't realize, honestly, was just how difficult it is to get around. Like, I was in a space, I was living in East Lansing, and there's public transportation and stuff, but my doctor's appointments were about 35 minutes away from where I stayed. So now I'm taking Ubers. I was an intern at the Capitol, actually. I was interning for a state representative, and I lost my internship. So on top of that, because I was just an intern, there is no disability, there are no benefits that you receive when something like this happens to you. So I lost my job. And even my apartment was not accessible. This is my dominant hand, I couldn't shower, so I had to replace my shower head so I could get the handheld one. And I was like putting a trash bag over my hand to not get my cast wet. And now, just being somebody and having to live with this, the constant pain, like you were saying, the joint pain, because I have a foreign object in my wrist. It is emotionally just taxing, honestly. I cannot do some of the same things that I used to do. And you live and you walk and we were saying we believe that everybody here is able-bodied, but that's not true because there are invisible disabilities.
Yeah.
And so I can't ever assume that somebody is able-bodied just because to me, they're just moving like regular. But to the invisible cost, I think honestly, the emotional toll it takes on you is probably one of the most expensive things because it is something that is going to follow you for the rest of your life. I still have PTSD. I couldn't even get therapy because I didn't have insurance anymore, right? So, it's hard, right? And I think to the conversation that we are having here, there are policy changes that could have impacted somebody like me when I went through that. And I'm a very strong believer that because we live in a society where there is a totem pole, if you help the people who are at the bottom of the totem pole, anybody above them is also going to experience those benefits.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so, we talked a little bit about the mental health side of it, and we'll go back into that, but, I'm thinking more about also what the costs are for people who might be mentally ill and have to stay in places that like they literally can't afford it, right? Like, do y'all know how much a person actually probably makes that get disability or regular SSI? They don't make a whole lot. Go ahead.
I can use one of my tenants as a reference.
Yeah.
One of my tenants, his monthly income is $780 a month. His rent is $750.
Yeah.
I knew that he couldn't afford it when he moved in. I reduced the rent by $100 to be able to help him with that.
Yes. Yes.
He got cut off and wasn't able to pay rent for 3 months.
My Lord.
He had a mental health crisis and got locked up. Wasn't able to pay rent for 4 months. In survival mode, because now it's 7 months past due rent. He got out and reported that I illegally evicted him because he knew that he needed to pay his rent. He got cut off with Social Security, and I'm like, just talk to me, we can work it out.
Yeah.
But he went into survival mode because he know that he can't afford to go anywhere else. He know that he don't qualify with his credit, right? So all it took was one incident to happen with him and everything started to trickle down. And so the emotional toll and emotional labor when somebody got to think about where they have a place to stay or the threat of being evicted or not, and even if it's an internal threat, because I haven't paid, I'm this month behind, and so sometimes the internal threat and the shame will cause you to go into survival mode, and now you're doing things to survive. It doesn't matter that the people around you have been trying to help. In that moment, you're facing with survival mode. Do I be homeless, or do I, override the system? And when I asked them why, the only thing he said is because I knew that you'll be able to work around it. I just had to do what I needed to do.
But he couldn't work around it.
But he couldn't work around it. He didn't have the wherewithal. Not only that, is during this time of mental health crisis, because he really wanted to go to the hospital, he was crying out for help, and the police came and just, he had to tell them a story just to get them to take him and keep him in the hospital. And that is the toil that we don't see. We don't understand it. And what did that do? So now we're in this cycle, right? And when we talk about emotional labor, how many parents are in here? Like, how many parents are in here and, if not now, had in the past had to think about paying your rent, buying groceries, getting medication, getting transportation to your job, to childcare? And the minimum income is what, $15 an hour? All it
Like
takes.
what comes first?
What comes first?
Right? Like what am I gonna cut out of everything in order to survive, right? That reminds me of, I used to own an independent living facility, and I had a tenant who came to me for a couple of weeks straight. He went to, when the police station was on Grand Boulevard in Woodward, he went to the police station and told them, my shoes are talking to me, and they're the enemy. He said, I need y'all to come get them. And the police, like, man, you don't get up out of here before we lock you up. He was like, no, I need y'all to come get these shoes. And literally he did that, went back, and they told him, look, we gonna lock you up. And he did not have the mental wherewithal at that moment to say, that's what I need you to do, because I'm mentally having a breakdown. Okay, so then he went back and told them again, like, I'm scared to be in an apartment because these shoes are bothering me. Well, he went back to the apartment building. The people at the apartment knew he had schizophrenia. He had stayed there for years without one episode, but he had this episode and he was crying out for help. And so literally when he went back to the apartment, he set his shoes on fire. And he set the apartment on fire,
Jesus Christ.
right?
Wow.
And then then everybody's up in a roar, right? But nobody's thinking about the fact that this man cried out for help for 2-3 weeks. And so he ended up coming to stay at my facility, and he was one of those who only made like $740. He only made $740 a month, so we could not charge him full rent, right? But it's just the boomerang things that people don't see. Like this man was staying in an apartment down on Second and Selden that was very low income, very poorly kept, all this kind of stuff. And he was happy to be at our space, but at the same time, he really wanted his own space. And he cried out for help. Go ahead.
Two quick points. When people have been discriminated against, well, not everybody, but when people like me, Elder Miracle, and probably everybody on this panel have been discriminated against, and then we become in a place where we can help someone, we help people. Because I know Elder Miracle helps so many people that she would never talk about. One of the things that I've had to do with people with mental health challenges, including my brother, is find a way to allow him to keep his dignity with the 700 and whatever it was that he had when he was homeless, because his mental health would not allow him to stay in the home with my parents or any family members. And we had to find a way for him to live in a place where he only had to pay for a room, not an entire facility. And we found other people who needed a roommate, and there were 3 in a house, and it worked out because he could not pay full rent. None of the people could pay full rent. So sometimes we have to think outside of the box. I know we might not be on solutions yet, but sometimes we have to think outside of the box because that mental health thing is so critical, and a lot of people are homeless because of it. The other issue with housing and mental health is when I was younger, I had 3 children. I had one before I went to law school. And the discrimination that we're not talking about, I guess that's a hidden cost for accessibility, is that when I was looking for a place to live for me and my young son, so many landlords told me no because I was a single mother. And it hurt my heart and affected my mental health because I would be homeless had I not had my parents who were not gonna let me be homeless with a little boy, but I would have been homeless. And I was working. There was nothing in my history that would have suggested that I would not pay my rent. It was just the fact that I was a single parent. And 2 landlords, white men, told me on different occasions that single moms bring deadbeat dads who tear up their places. Wow. Did not know me from Adam. And so that makes me a landlord that thinks about those things, the discrimination that other people have to face because of who they may be or who the children that they may have, because that's a real cost for a lot of people that affects their mental health.
I just wanted to say that when we're all talking about a lot of barriers, for families that, have members that are disabled, but I think it's important for us as community members, making sure that we're conveying the resources that may be out here, because a lot of times when you have mental health issues, housing insecurities, you don't know what those resources are. And so I think it's up to us as the members of the community to make sure that we're keeping families on top of what those resources are, like the Fair Housing of Michigan, who can help you with discrimination if you're being discriminated by landlords, such as your familiar status. That's a law that you cannot discriminate against that. The Disability Institute of Michigan, which helps families get those resources if you have family members that are disabled. And then also they offer ABLE accounts for members of the community who make minimum money but still want to have their own financial independence. You know,
Did you call
they're
that able accounts?
ABLE accounts, yes. I also am a certified disability financial coach. So what I do is try to help them regain that independence. Because I think a lot of times when you're in that space and you're disabled, you feel like everybody's controlling everything for you. And so we want to make sure people keep their dignity and have those resources.
Anybody else want to talk a little bit about it? So the question, we didn't really answer the question. We got to get into the question without asking. But it was perfect timing, perfect segue. So we were just talking about like the overwhelming cost basically of affordable housing, like what that looks like, what barriers do you see when it comes down to how much it's costing to either rent or purchase or whatever it be for families when you have mental health issues, or even somebody talked about the like livable wage of $15 an hour. Like now you become a working poor, right? Because now you no longer qualify for other services, or if you're on disability, you really can't make that $15 an hour really on disability unless you volunteer most of your time. Like, what has those experiences been like for anybody?
Well, we own our home, And so those expenses are, like Dr. Ricky said, when you make some changes to your home, the taxes go up. And then because we own our home, we don't have a landlord to go to get things done. So we have to come out of pocket. And all the time the money's not there to come out of pocket to make your home accessible. So if you're working on a budget, I think that's what I'm working on a budget. So anything outside of that, a couple $1,000, a couple $100 can make or break the family. Sometimes that is that one straw that breaks the camel's back. So when I need to get my bathroom accessible, so that means we're not going to pay for a couple months. Because we have to catch that bill up. We have to catch other bills up. So it's always that spinning wheel. You're not never going to have enough because everything's going up except yourself.
Regina, can we go to the audience and see if anyone from the audience want to share?
Yeah, so, anybody out here like experienced any of these barriers? And, I'll give it, that question kind of like twofold. What has the barrier been? And then how did you counteract that if you had a solution, right? It might be something someone else here needs to also. Anybody?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn up because I need all of my feelings. But yeah, I'm actually going through it right now with the house, man. If you make too much, it's like you gotta make like 3 times the rent. It's really crazy.
Take your time, bro.
I don't know what to say. But yeah, it's hard. Yeah, like y'all was talking about the just being in pain. I experienced the same thing. It's always a pain, but it's like they don't think nothing wrong with me. So like I'm in pain right now on my whole right side of my body.
Yeah.
Again. Anybody else want to speak?
Thank you.
Thank you for being transparent.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Okay, so, our son is, well, it's twofold. So our son is living with a serious mental health condition and looking for some place for him to stay. Like the young man just said, you need either 2 to 3 times what your income is. That's not happening for help. So, what happened, I end up co-signing. And that is something, that's our son beloved.
Come on.
I just felt like that was ridiculous. And you're supposed to be honest, and you need to be honest. And sometimes when you tell people my son has a mental health condition, it's automatically denied.
Yeah.
That is truly heartbreaking, and I'm like, this needs to change. Someone within the community, the mental health community, it starts with us, and need to find a space for people living with a mental health condition, whether it's temporary or for something they'll live with for the rest of their lives. Because they have a, should I say, a better understanding, they understand. And they will be able to come at it from a different perspective on how to help the individuals. And affordability is so important. Because one day, I'm not gonna be here, we're not gonna be here.
Yeah.
So I just want him to be okay.
I think that's what the average parent want, every person wants, right? Because you always thinking like, I don't want to outlive my child. And so I want my child to actually be prepared if something happens to me. Like I want to know when I leave here that they're going to be self-sufficient. And that's hard when you have children or family members with mental health issues. Because you see it all the time where grandma passed and that uncle who had mental health issues, now he's kind of like grandfathered down to the brothers and sisters or the nieces and nephews. And everybody's like in a disarray, because then where do you go from there? Anybody else have something to say?
Well, I just had a curious question. As far as the legislation, anything that could help in situations like that? Like what my young brother here is dealing with, and our son, what you're dealing with. I'm just wondering, as from a legislative standpoint, is there anything going on in that space that we could push and, support?
Oh, she can take this.
Yeah. I think it's important to understand legislation when we introduce it and how it can be bad and good. There is current policies that people are working on. It's a whole housing package that someone introduced for this quarter. I think it has 20-some odd bills on there. But there's also conversations that you can continue to have to introduce certain things that matters. Because we can say, hey, this matters, but it may not matter. It may not be helpful. I also introduced legislation that will allow individuals with domestic violence to be able to vacate their home, especially if the landlord is a relative of the person that's abusing them, so they wouldn't be penalized. We also have policies in place where individuals with a felony record will be able to get home housing without having their record be something used against them. But as far as mental health aspects, that's something that I'm willing to explore to find out what can be done and what can be in place and not do. My whole goal is not to do more harm than good. So if it's something that we can look at that will be helpful and not will be harmful in the long run, then I'm open to exploring those options.
Awesome. Thank you.
We had a question over here, and then, you had something, I wanted you to say something. I want you to go first.
Okay. I'm not a politician, but, when you talk about legislation and things like that, I just wanted to say, for those of you who aren't registered voters, go and be a registered,
Yes.
go and get registered to vote. Because what happens is, most of us, we just think of the big election, the presidential election, but I think everything starts at the state level, at your city level, so we have to get out and go to those elections. Don't just wait for the 4 years to come and vote for your president, because that's not going to do a lot for you. You need to work with the members and the politicians in your community
such as we have here and start at that local level and continue to build from that. It's just important that your voice is heard.
Excellent. And don't be afraid to write your congressman, write your state legislators. Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am newly, disabled. In, 22, I was, diagnosed with glaucoma. And then subsequently I've become blind. So as far as, income, I do have SSDI. So it's a little bit more than SSI, but still, I would not be able to, afford, rent or housing if it was not for my husband. So I can understand, others who have that barrier, who don't have that support system. But it is very hard, even mentally. I believe that I'm, functionally depressed. People, if, just looking at me, they wouldn't think that, I have issues. Because someone said something about, invisible disabilities.
Yes.
So, people can't really tell that I have it. But yeah, I hate going to the grocery store. As a matter of fact, I don't go anymore. My husband goes, because I have that anxiety. So it's a lot that, goes on, and I'm glad that I was invited to come to this summit because it's, helping me a lot.
We take one more comment, and then we're gonna go to some solutions. We'll start talking about like some ideas, right? Because we know the problems all the time, and we want to make sure as a community, we always come away with some solutions and then some action steps after that.
Hi, my name is Kim Smith Nelson. I'm the CEO of KSC Management Property Consultant. One of our programs is for 55 plus for senior veterans. And so that's been one of the issues that I've run into because the veterans are on fixed income, but working with VA and some of the case managers and the other agencies, monies that were, I eventually found out, allotted to these housing programs because I provide co-living for independent seniors, and our government throws a lot of that money.
Yeah.
So it kind of, I guess put even case managers, a lot of organizations, I don't know what the solution would be other than what we're doing now. Coming together, brainstorming, sharing resources. That's the only way we can get the data we need for our representatives to be able to get more funded. I mean, when it comes to housing for the veterans, I have a number of properties. I don't own the properties. The landlords allowed me to rent these properties so that I can house the veterans. But again, when it comes to modifications to the home, ramps, things like that, there's no resources unless you own the properties. And so it's a lot of red tape, and I'm not giving up, but yeah, I thank you, Dr. Miracle, for inviting me and for us to be able to come together. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So I just want to take us on just a quick journey. I want you to know that a lot of these resources didn't start depleting overnight, right? Like this was not something that, a lot of people say, Trump in office and he done messed up everything. I want to take you back about 20 years ago. I don't know if you guys remember, we're down by the Cass Corridor area where the new stadium stands. We used to have the Salvation Army, we used to have the Red Cross, we used to have Harbor House.
Yes.
We used to have a whole lot of spaces down there. Even off of campus marshes, there used to be a mental health facility there. We used to have Northville out in Northville, Michigan. We used to have all of these spaces. And I want you to think about, like, these places didn't disappear overnight. They started camping out canvassing Detroit. And they started saying, we want to do redlining, right? Like, redlining is not just about housing.
Right.
It's about businesses, big hot item tickets, like stadiums, like businesses, like new circles where they say, all these people down here, we want this space back. Like, they literally targeted our mental health places, and they literally, during Engler's time, came in and said, we gonna close these spaces. And people were like, what do you mean you gonna close them? But it was more than just about closing. They wanted to give that land to people to make money off of individuals in this city, and then not even employ individuals in this city. And so you have all of these mental health facilities where a person could literally walk in and go say, hey, I'm not feeling my best today. And they have a good place to stay for 3-4 months till they get themselves together. They started in the area where Little Caesars Arena is. They tore it up. They literally even tried to take houses from people. There's a house down there right now where they fought that man for decades because they want that house from him. He still has it. They have fought that man. They have blighted that house. They've done everything they possibly. They moved restaurants out of the way. Like, literally, they tore that area up, all in the name of trying to make the rich richer and make the poor poorer and disadvantage more people who are disadvantaged. And they replaced none of that.
The so-called empowerment zone.
So-called empowerment zone, right? And then they moved Salvation Army a little bit ways away, but they don't have that big tall building they used to have where they could house people and people could come down there and get care. They don't have that. Then they started at what, Third and Martin Luther King.
Yeah, so.
Down there where they gave Kim the street name the other day. Do you know all of that down there used to be spaces for homeless to go in, the NSO office, all of that. They've depleted all of that, put gates around it. They started fining us when we went down there and fed them. They started fining people and telling people, you can't go down here and take care of your own people who are homeless. I've been taking care of people since I was 5 years old with my mother. I remember her going to look for our family who was homeless down in the Cass Corridor area. And now if you go down there, you could possibly get a ticket or the police is gonna pull up and discourage you from bringing meals down there. So I want you to think about this. These are processes that they intentionally put in place to make the rich richer and to actually disenfranchise some of our most vulnerable people. So what solutions do we have? Like, what do we want to do as individuals? Buy the homes, house people, rent the homes, house people. What solutions do we have? And sometimes your hardest impact, your biggest struggle might be your biggest blessing, not just for your son, but for somebody else's son.
Yeah.
Because then you get to rent a house or you get to buy a house and you house your own people.
Yes.
Right? You say, no, I'm hell-bent on making sure that our young people and those who are disenfranchised will not go without.
Yes.
So what's some solutions y'all can think of?
Quick fire solutions, as Minister Latasha said, voting, buying the property. There's an auction in Wayne County every year. If you can't afford to get into that Wayne County tax auction and buy homes from people who legitimately lost them, not people who were fighting to keep their homes because they were overtaxed. But if they're in the auction and they legitimately lost these homes, because the way I became a landlord was through the auction when the homes were $500. They're way more than $500 now. They're way more than $500, but still, it's affordable. It's way more affordable than going out and trying to get a mortgage or trying to get something that's on the market. You might have to do a little work to the house, but it's affordable. And then if you don't buy that house for yourself, put your children in it.
Yeah.
Create what is the word I'm looking for? Generational wealth. That everybody else has come into our community and they're creating it for themselves. Because I listened to a book on audio years ago called The Millionaire Mindset. And in that book, the psychologist who wrote it said, people from outside of urban areas go into urban areas to create businesses. But people in the urban areas are looking for jobs. And of course, there's nothing wrong with a job. I have a job. But we also need to start thinking about being entrepreneurs and working with each other and keeping our money in our community. Because that's what other people are doing in the housing space. They're using us to build up, but they also have created a home for their children to come and live in when they need it. So I'm gonna get put out when I was on Yorkshire because the person who owned the house, now his daughter out of college, she needs a place to stay. So that's their generation. Well, we can do the same thing. This is not a big secret. We can do it. But we definitely need to vote and buy a house. Go into the auction. It may not be Wayne County. It could be another county, wherever you live, or you don't have to live in the county where you buy the house. See where there is something that is not that expensive, purchase the house.
Thank you so much for that. I just, yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to piggyback off of that, 100% agreed. But how do we get there? How do we get to that point where we're able to afford to buy that house? And that means taking a deeper look into our own personal finances, right? I know many times, families are down to the bare budget where they're only able to, cover their basic needs, which is the four walls, your housing, transportation, utilities, and food. And so you find yourself in a space where you don't have money to save. But we have to consciously start looking at what we're spending, even when whatever that discretionary income is. So if you have an extra $50, per month, you should be putting $10 aside. You have to start building, because in order for you to be able to achieve and to buy and build wealth, we have to look into our own personal finances. We want to help the community, we want to help our families, but we have to be in a position to do so. And so in order for us to create that wealth, again, we're taking a deeper dive into our own personal finances and what we're doing with our money, so we can shift that and build that wealth for ourselves and our families and our children, because we have to take that step. Right now, we see that the government is not doing it. We talked about how they're cutting back on the grants, the programming. They're even trying to change, what they spend through HUD, and how they pay the 30%, and then the families pay 30%, and then the government is paying the 70%. They're trying to reverse that, where you're paying the 70% and they're going to be coming out of 30%. So that's going to be another barrier. So we have to start looking internally. And I always say, look internally first and go externally. What can I do to try to help this issue first?
So I'll share, and then after we share, I want to hear from you guys as well. Looking internally, like anybody that know me know that my slogan is win from within, right? Because that's the only way we gonna do it, if we start from within. And I know for me, being a single mom, before I became a single mom, being a child that lived under poverty with my mom who was disabled, both psychologically and physically, and understanding the systematic trauma and systematic poverty, and even the mindset that came from that. And I think before I was able to do any of the things that I did now, I had to change my mindset, but I had to heal from that systemic trauma. I had to heal from the poverty and the poverty mindset, because the poverty mindset had me continuing to pay rent. The poverty mindset had me wanting to spend my money to look the part instead of being the part, right? And so I had to go within and heal the mindset and renew the spirit of my mind, and so that I can understand that I am called to be a kingdom builder, right? And so even though we're in poverty, we don't have to become it. And so what it took is for me to step out of my comfort zone. What it took was for me to challenge myself. What it took was for me to stop the convenience, right? Because how much we pay for convenience and entertainment. Like one time when I did the budgeting, I went back, I was spending like $200 on subscriptions. And I'm like, well, you know what? I could not watch this show. Okay, and so I started canceling my subscriptions. Like, because do I want entertainment or do I want to empower my children? Do I want entertainment or do I want to empower my community? And so when I decided, listen, I've been a part of the problem because I just did not know, but knowing we are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. So it's our responsibility to get the knowledge, but not gatekeep, right? We got to get the knowledge and we got to pass it on so that other people can be empowered too. And so one of the things I would say is come together, because maybe one person can't buy a house, but 4 people can. Right? Come together. We don't have to wait for the government, because I don't know about y'all, but the Bible that I read says the government sits on the shoulders, right? That sits on the shoulders of Christ. We are the body of Christ. And so I don't need to depend on the government. I love the government for everything the government has, but I'm not created to depend on them. I'm created to create the resources that is needed to empower each other. And if all of us begin to have that mindset and operate with each other to do it, we could build up. We could build up the communities that we live in, and we could empower those people that we're talking about, because most of us was those people before.
That's right. That's good. Appreciate that. I love you. How can y'all go after that? Right. No, that's a team. But my speech was always, people need to vote, but that's not really the answer. You need to go vote with somebody else. Take about 5, 10 people with you to go vote, but then it doesn't stop there. Once you cast your vote, contact the people you voted for and hold them accountable, like really hold them accountable. And hold yourself accountable. You voted for that person, are you showing up for that person? Are you going to their community events? Are you writing them? And while I'm speaking, get your pens and papers. I can give y'all my email address, because if you have issues, you can contact my office. I may not be in your district, but it doesn't matter to me. I still will help. But again, it's beyond just voting. Yes, we can go and vote for that person, but what are you doing after that? Are you going back the next election cycle? Are you going back in general? Or are you just saying, I voted this one time and I'm good? Or did you go back and say, I'm bringing my kids, I'm bringing my grandparents, I'm bringing everybody who else think that the only thing that mattered was marijuana on the ballot? That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because it's beyond, I'm sorry, it's beyond that. Because a lot of people show up. They showed up for the president when we had Obama. They showed up when marijuana was on the ballot, but that was it. But no one really understood what else was on that ballot with marijuana. Like, you can't drive and smoke that. It's illegal.
Right.
But people voted for it. Exactly. And people voted for it, but not knowing what the heck they voted for.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, you showed up, but did you do the work? Did you find out what this really meant? Did you hold them people accountable? Did you say, now we need to change the laws that impact this that we should vote for? Those are the extra steps that we have to go through in order to make things make sense. Other than that, it's just like, you just voted and that's it.
I'm here and I'm looking, Dr. America, every time she has an event, she makes sure she includes all the organizations. And as I'm sitting here, I hope I'm right. We have the power right here. She has about 5 organizations up there, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, she never not brings people to the table with her. So if we use that energy to put our organizations together to submit that to the government, to the Senate, to the House, we can get more done, because power is in numbers. And with all these organizations out there, if we can write something up, we can get something done. As I'm sitting here, I'm looking at this, Dr. Merker has always included people in to make sure it's a better people. So what we can do for her is to make sure that we get these things to the Senate and we present it in numbers.
Okay.
So, I do not believe that as Black people, we have the liberty of being passive participants in our life. When you live in a society that does not want you to succeed, it is very important that you do everything possible, not just for yourself, but for your community to succeed. So because it is an election year, election is next month, and then you also have November. When you're voting, you actually need to know what the person that you are voting for is actually supposed to do. So you need to know what the governor is supposed to do. You need to know what the attorney general is supposed to do. Not just what they tell you they are campaigning for, but what does it actually say in the Constitution, even if you don't believe in it. What does it actually say that they are supposed to do? Because a lot of people run on empty promises. So you have a rep here who just made you a promise.
So you have to hold it to, you have to hold her accountable to this promise, right? And I think a part of it is we only talk about the election and we only talk about politics during election season, but there is so much, working at the Capitol just for about a year showed me so much about these closed door conversations that happen. And I worked for a state representative who was very active in her community. And every time I was in the office, she would have people coming to her, groups of white people specifically, coming to her to lobby. I didn't always see that many black people coming to her to lobby. You can go to them and say, hey, I need this program in my community. And they will actually, they have to do these things. They have to pass these policies for you, but also a part of it is they'll pretend that, like they don't know what policies you want passed. They know it.
Yeah.
They know what's happening in their community because they have to live here. If you say you are a representative of this district, they have to live here. So they're in your grocery stores. They go to your church. You just don't know them because they don't show their picture on the ballot. So you're just voting by party. You just think, oh, because this person is a Democrat, I have to vote for them. Things are so much deeper, y'all. It really is. And so when I think about myself as somebody who I've only been voting for a couple of years, this year specifically is when I decided to become the most educated as a voter. So this means also looking at the proposals, because what happens is when you get the ballot, there's so many other things on there that you were not prepared for, but they have sample ballots. If you go online, sometimes it might take you a while to actually find the information that you need because technology is crazy, AI is crazy. They do try to hide it there because they don't want you to find it. But you have to sit down and you have to do the research, because while we are all in this room and we can have so many solutions, it takes time to implement. It takes effort and it takes work. So when I say we cannot be passive participants, it also means that all of the energy, all of the power that you feel right now, you cannot allow it to remain in this room. You have to have these conversations with people that you know, because we know so many young people who don't vote. And the people in this room, we have the most purchasing power and we have the most voting power, but they don't want you to vote. They want you to just, wait until the next couple of years. They're gonna have the, the rallies and the block parties and tell everybody to come out to vote. They bring all the different rappers and stuff. But you have to understand there is always a hidden agenda somewhere. So you have to understand when somebody is asking you, hey, vote for me, why do they want you specifically to vote for them? Because they don't want to educate you. They know you are not actually going to do the research. They know they can just have one simple conversation. They can make an easy promise to you, and you're never going to follow up. So you have to do the research. You have to follow up. And honestly, I'm an abolitionist, right? So I have multiple beliefs that the system was not created for us, so the system should not exist. But I also have the belief that while we are currently in this system, we also have to play the game as well. Everybody was dealt cards when we came into this life. White people, white supremacists specifically, they are sitting in rooms and they are organizing the same way we are organizing. It is our job to be 10, 20 steps ahead of them because they have been 100 steps ahead of us in life. So now it is we have the opportunity to literally shift the tides, to change the game. It's just, do you actually want it or not? Do you want better for yourself? Do you want to be liberated? Because liberation is something that can happen today.
So, we're going to shift from the panel. Can everybody give our panelists a wonderful? We are going to allow everybody to get lunch. Lunch is ready in the back. So, if we can get people to begin to get lunch, and then quickly come back to your chairs. We have tabletop conversations. Come back to your tables. Come back to the same table you were at, if possible. And we're going to open up to a couple of discussions right at your table amongst you and your peers. So we'll pray over food right quick. Lord, we thank you for blessing this food, that it had nothing in it to hurt or harm us, Father. Lord, cover every person in your blood in this space. Lord, that no one gets sick or anything. You know, all the stuff going on with restaurants, Lord. So we asking you to cover each and every last person. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Just really, really quickly, and I know this is so out of order, please forgive me. But this young lady right here has some skills, some financial literacy skills, and she is offering like a 5-minute, what is it called? Financial assessment? Financial checkup at her table back there. I know all the vendors have something wonderful, but at some point, before she has to go, please do the 5-minute financial checkup, because she's really good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody, go ahead. If we can let those, like maybe who may be disabled and, their family or them fix their food first, that would be fine. You have, Bucharest chicken bites back there. You have garlic. Yeah, it's food back there. But go ahead.